What's going on, everybody? Keith here, Two Guys How To. Doing another video. I'm working on another Nissan Rogue, and it's a 2000 and I believe a 12 Nissan Rogue, and it really doesn't matter what edition it is. They're all going to be running the same things, different size motors. You can see this is a smaller motor. This is a V6, and the problem we're having is the code, and it's a PO101. And if you don't have one of these, this is an OBD2 scanner, and you can get them pretty cheap. I've had this one for years and years, and it comes with a book, you know, English and other languages in there. So I co-scanned it already, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. The P101 is referring to the MAF, the mass airflow sensor, which if you're looking at the motor, it's just behind the battery, and you got your air filter here. This connection right here is your mass airflow sensor. So you can disconnect the battery, take that cable off before you do any work on the electrical stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect that real quick. We're gonna unplug this very carefully, and there's two 8mm bolts there. They're Phillips heads, and you can see them down in there. But let's first go around and scan this thing. So if you've got it or you wanna get a free code scan, we're in the driver's side here, the driver's side cockpit area. There's your brake. Up here is your port that this scanner plugs into. So let's see if I can show you guys where it is. And it should be white. And there it is right there. That's the port. So we're gonna take this connection on the other side of the OBD2, and you can see it's slanted, so we wanna make sure it can only go on one way. Boom, we plugged it in. We're gonna turn the key over right here. Not start the motor, we're just gonna turn the key over. And let's go ahead, and it's gonna read right here, it's connected. So let's just go ahead and just put read. It's got the arrow here, read, and erase codes. Let's just hit read. It says one code, and you wanna hit the bottom arrow down again. And it's a P0101. So if we flip to the book here that comes, and we flipped to P0101. It's labeled here. It's hard to do with my gloves on holding this camera. Let's see, where is it? P101, MAF or VAF, A circuit range performance. So 9 times out of 10, all these different codes can be thrown by anything. A dirty air filter. It could be even you know, bad gas sometimes. A lot of times it's the air filter, or when the guy checks the air filter at the place you get your work done, all the dust from it goes inside. You've got to take them out real carefully, take them away from the vehicle. Don't leave the cap of the air filter off, and kind of bang it out on the ground and get the dust out, or just go ahead and replace it, have one on hand. So this P101 MAF or VAF A circuit range performance, it doesn't even tell us. It kind of gets us started in the right direction. You can Google what this does, and it'll give you a bunch of hints and tips of what it might be. What I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna erase this code yet. Well, actually, while we've got it here, I'll show you how to erase it, because I'm gonna take that thing out and clean it. Let's just go ahead, while it's showing the code here, if you use the erase button, it'll actually scroll back up to you know, get ready to scroll down for the codes. Let's see if you guys can read that. So let's hit the arrow down. It'll give us our code. We're gonna go to erase, one code. I let off on erase and I pushed back down. It'll ask me to erase again. I'll let off on erase and I'll hold it back down. And boom, it says done. So if you ran through emissions right now, let's unplug it. The emissions people are gonna know that it's been reset, and the test will be inoperable. They'll tell you to come back after, you know, 100 miles or so. Or if you disconnect the battery, you can't go right through emissions, at least not in Maryland. So I erased the code. That way I'm gonna take this thing out and clean it. We can go ahead and start fresh. If the code comes back on for them, then I'm just gonna order a brand new one from Nissan. But 9 times out of 10, what you do is I'm gonna go buy a new air filter, and you can access this through these clips here. And I already had it out, and that's why I was referring to how much dust and debris is actually in here. When you lift these things out of here, you gotta push the clip in, pull it out, and it should be seated up in there like that. That's what this little bar tab here does. You can kind of see it. It's angled, triangular, and it goes back behind there and pushes that air filter up inside there. When it goes down, it wedges it. So when you pull this out, just be careful, like I said, not to get a bunch of dust and debris. And this bottom tray is notched, and that notch goes right down there in another spot that accepts that notch. So if you take this thing out and you hold it up to the light, you can barely see any light. You guys should be able to see that crystal clear. So if you take it, you put it down on the ground, which I did a little earlier, you can get a bunch of dust out of it. But it's just a band-aid just to get the dust. If you peel it back, you can see all the black down in there. It's not real bad, believe me. She could run this for a little while longer. I can see light. There you go, you guys can see it now. But if I had a brand new one to hold up, you'd see a ton more light. This thing's on its last leg, and this could be tripping the sensor because it's starting to get clogged up. And it was clogged up until I banged it out on the ground. So I'm gonna reuse it just for now. Put it back in. I cleaned it out. And you want to make sure, like I said, the notch is on the bottom and that rubber seal faces up towards the driver's side cockpit, the window. So let's push that down in there. Push it up in there. And this wedge thing, like I said, the wedge right there, you can see it. It has to go that way. It has to push this filter up into there. So get that lined up, get your wedge going. Get your little tabs lined up. She should go down, and I'm going to use my right hand here and make sure that we got it where we need it to go. Boom. And if this thing isn't seated right, a lot of times those little quick mechanic, quick lube places will open this and they'll leave it up. I like the way it's seated here. It's kind of at an angle, so it looks like it's not seated, but it is. So if you have air there, it's going to trip the sensor. It's going to pull in too much air, and it's connected. You can see how close it is, the MAP sensor, the mass airflow sensor, right to this, and it regulates air going in, and then therefore it sends a signal to the computer, and the computer squirts gas in to compensate for how much air. So let's get busy and take this thing apart. I'm going to set up the tripod on this camera. I'm going to show you how to take it out. We've got some CRC, mass airflow. Remember the MAF, mass airflow. It's abbreviation for mass airflow sensor cleaner. And we're going to use this, safe for plastics, safe for those delicate little mass air flow meters. It's got little teeny, like a strand of hair wire in there. And I've got some dielectric grease we're going to put on the plug afterwards. I got a long screwdriver, which won't even get at that back angle right there. So I'm going to go to a socket. I got my 1/4-inch drive socket. This is a 1/4-inch right here thickness. It accepts these smaller 1/4-inch thickness drive sockets. And to me, it looks like an 8mm. So I'm going to hit that, take those screws out very gently, put them on the side. We'll disconnect the battery, and we'll disconnect the plug here without breaking it. Take that sensor out, and then we'll clean it over there off to the side on one of these rags, and let it dry, and we'll put it back in. All right, I want to show you guys on that plug on that the mass airflow sensor. It's got a little tab, and it's hard to see. I push my thumb in there like this, and then I'll reach around the other side and pull it out. If yours is hard, just make sure you push that tab, and you get a little screwdriver underneath. But try to take it out without using any tools before you undo those 2 bolts, and those 2 bolts are actually 7mm. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out now, and we'll pop it up. I'll show you how I do it. I'm pushing that button, and then with your other hand, reach around and just pull up from the back. Don't grab these wires here, and you should be straight. So let's get set up here. I got other things I got to do, so I'm going to knock this out real quick. So I'm going to push it in with my thumb, reach around the back, just kind of pull up on it a little bit. And it should come out. There you go. And that's where we're going to put that dielectric grease, just right across the top, just a little bit on your finger before we plug it back in. So let's get that thing tucked out of the way. And I've got my little tools here. Basically, I got that 1/4-inch drive. I got about a 4-inch extension that goes on that. And I got a swivel. This kind of swivels to manipulate that screw that we can't get in the back of the bolt, and I got that 7mm socket. And I'll go back there and just hit them. You see how it curves? It can curve and still kind of get that bolt out. So I always use this when I work on these Nissans. all, don't drop them. There's one, let's put that out. Let's get the other one. That's two. And that sensor should pull out of there. Be careful because it does hit the top little lip there. But let's just go ahead and pull it up real gently. Don't get any dirt or debris down in there. It barely fits out. And you can see what it looks like there. And that little teeny hair elements are inside there. And this thing basically regulates the air coming through it and sends a signal out of those prongs. You want to check those prongs for not being beat up. So let's go ahead and spray this thing out. Swing it around to the side so you guys can see me here. So I got that cleaner. Let's just go ahead and burst this down where those the terminals are, where the plug goes, as well as up inside there. Don't stick the straw up inside or you'll damage it. And you can see really good. I'm not gonna even touch it when I'm done. Up inside there's like a little resistor, little hair resistor like you would find in an old radio. And you just don't want to mess with any of those. That circuitry in there, don't mess with it. Just spray it off. And I'm actually going to spray the plug itself that came off of here, because if it's not getting a good connection, it'll misread. And there is a little gasket there as well too. We'll double check to see, make sure it doesn't fall down into the unit. Most of the times I take that off or just try not to get any spray on it. This is you know, just spray downward away from that gasket. Okay, done there. Let me spray the plug. I'm actually gonna, this dries instantaneously, so let's just let that dry and check around there for dirt and debris. I don't see any. Let's go ahead and put this back in there without touching the sides, and don't touch it anymore at the top. Make sure it's seated down in there right as well. These tabs, when you look at it, you'll see this little flat spot on the tab. That's supposed to be facing the engine. And I can show you that real quick. I took it out, I'll put it back in for you. Now to line those two holes up right there. So we're good to go there. Let's clean this connection off here a little bit. I'm gonna let that dry, facing it down towards the motor, and we're gonna get these bolts back in real carefully. Don't drop them. All right, I got them started by hand, so go ahead and tighten those down. You just want to snug them down. Like I said, check for that gasket, make sure that gasket's still on there. I know I've done a video on another car similar to this. I don't know if it was the same video, but it's simple. You can fix this problem yourself and save a lot of money. If this doesn't work, just order a brand new mass airflow sensor from Nissan or online. Make sure it's OEM, it's not a knockoff junk part, and you'll get a good another, you know, what's 2012, you get 10 more years out of it. You order a cheap one, it's going to throw the code again, or it's not going to work at all. And it's either due to this thing failing or that dirty air filter. Alright, so I went ahead and I snugged it up. I like the way it feels. The plug's dry. Let's go ahead and get some of that dielectric grease on there. And plug it back in the same way it came out, gently. Don't force it down in there. It should go right down in there. That's it. So we can start it up and see if that check engine light comes back on, or run it up the road. It should go on right away if you run it up the road within the first 100 miles. You know, if it stays off, then man, we just saved about 90 bucks, maybe more. So that's it. I'm out. I'm going to check a couple other things, clean up this battery terminal, change the oil in this thing, get a new air filter. Not tune it up just yet. I put an alternator on it, and I'm just going to go over everything while I'm under the hood here. Check the brake fluid, check the power steering fluid, and check the transmission fluid while it's running in park. So fix it yourself, save that money. It's simple. For that P0101 code on these Nissans, and you can look it up, it always refers to that mass airflow sensor. So first and foremost, let's clean it, keep that air filter clean. Vacuum it out if you have to down inside the box. I did that before on another unit a couple weeks ago, and that fixed the problem. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on this one that it's going to fix this problem and save the customer some money. So fix it yourself, save that money, do what I did, watch the video, slowly go through it. It's simple. You can do this at home with 7mm socket and a 1/4" drive wrench, an extension, and that little teeny swivel that I got on the end there. You see how that swivels the socket however you want. You can get this stuff cheap. So go buy yourself a set, keep it in the car, and do it yourself, fix it, save that money, and check out the other videos. Maybe they'll help you if you got any questions or comments. I always talk to people that hit me up. So I'm out. We want to fix other things, work on this Jaguar, and move on to this other diesel truck. So see ya later. What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.